Welcome to Prime Field. In the highest echelons of sport, victory is the goal. But learning is the engine of a dynasty. A championship loss is not merely a data point of failure. It is an autopsy. It is a moment of cold, clear appraisal where a program's most subtle vulnerabilities are laid bare for the world and for its rivals to see. For the South Carolina Gamecocks, the final game of the previous season was just such a moment. It exposed a crack in the foundation, a weakness in the interior that demanded a fundamental reevaluation. The response from head coach Dawn Staley was not a single move, but the creation of a choice. Two distinct philosophies, two potential identities embodied by two different starting lineups. The question that will define the 2025 season is not simply if South Carolina can win, but how they will choose to win. It is a strategic dilemma that pits calculated offensive versatility against uncompromising defensive dominance. And the answer will determine the path back to a championship.
Prime Field!
The first path forward for Dawn Staley is forged in experience and offensive firepower. It is a philosophy known as the veteran powerhouse. This approach leverages a roster rich with established talent, designed to outscore and outmaneuver opponents through skill and court intelligence. The lineup is a testament to offensive balance. At the guard positions, the consistent floor leadership of Raven Johnson is paired with the proven scoring ability of transfer Tania Latson. They are joined by Tessa Johnson and Chloe Kitts, creating a perimeter and wing alignment where every player is a legitimate offensive threat. The system is engineered for spacing, for ball movement, and for creating high percentage shots from multiple points of attack. The strategic linchpin of this formation, however, is Joyce Edwards. A top recruit known for her exceptional versatility, Edwards is deployed at the center position. While not a traditional back-to-the-basket big, her unique skill set allows her to stretch the floor, pulling opposing centers away from the paint and creating driving lanes for the guards. Her ability to operate effectively in this role is the key that unlocks the lineup's full offensive potential. It creates matchup problems across the court, forcing defenses to make difficult choices. This is a lineup built on a simple premise: overwhelm the opposition with a relentless and multifaceted offensive attack. The logic behind the veteran powerhouse is sound. It is a continuation of a style that has made South Carolina a perennial national contender. Yet this philosophy also carries with it the echo of the team's most recent and most public vulnerability. The previous season's championship game served as a stark diagnostic. When faced with an opponent fielding a truly dominant post player, the Gamecocks' interior defense showed its limits. The lack of a true physically imposing center was exploited. Points in the paint became a liability. Rebounding margins, a point of weakness. It was a tactical problem that skill and offensive creativity alone could not solve. This exposure created the central conflict for the 2025 season: to continue with a proven offensive system that carried a known defensive risk, or to evolve. For a coach like Dawn Staley, a Hall of Famer defined by adaptability, the existence of a weakness is an invitation for innovation. The problem was identified. A solution was required, not to replace the existing philosophy, but to build a powerful alternative. The search was on for a player who could fundamentally alter the team's defensive identity. The solution arrived in the form of a transfer, a player whose physical presence was a direct answer to the question posed in the championship game. Her name is Medina Okoh. Her arrival enables the second path forward for Dawn Staley, the big ball lineup. This philosophy represents a tactical pivot from finesse to force. By inserting Okoh into the starting five, the entire defensive geometry of the team is transformed. With a true dominant center anchoring the paint, South Carolina addresses its most glaring weakness head-on. Okoh's role is to control the interior, to protect the rim, and to command the boards. Her presence is a deterrent, a physical reality that opposing offenses must now account for on every possession. The introduction of Okoh creates a strategic domino effect across the roster. Joyce Edwards and Chloe Kitts, both versatile players, are now able to slide back to their natural forward positions. This shift creates one of the most physically imposing front courts in the nation. The lineup prioritizes rebounding as strength and defensive toughness above all else. While it may present different challenges for offensive spacing, its core purpose is clear: to physically dominate the opponent in the paint and to neutralize the very type of player that proved to be the team's undoing. The existence of two distinct lineup philosophies is not a sign of indecision. It is evidence of a deliberate, two-phase strategic plan. Dawn Staley's approach to the 2025 season appears to be a calculated deployment of both identities tailored to the specific challenges presented by the schedule. The season is expected to begin with the veteran powerhouse lineup. During the non-conference schedule, this formation allows the team to build rhythm and offensive chemistry. It leverages the experience of the returning core, allowing them to establish a fluid, high-scoring identity against a varied slate of opponents. This initial phase is about sharpening the offensive spearhead, perfecting the system that has been so successful in the past. However, as the calendar turns to conference play, the tactical landscape shifts. The Southeastern Conference, the SEC, is known for its punishing physicality and its abundance of strong post players. It is here that the big ball lineup is expected to become the primary weapon. The pivot to the OCOD-anchored formation is a strategic necessity, designed to counter the specific strengths of their toughest rivals. This tactical flexibility, this ability to transform from a high-powered offensive unit into a defensive juggernaut, is the hallmark of Staley's coaching acumen. It is an acknowledgement that in the modern game, one size does not fit all, and a championship run requires a team that can win in more than one way. A strategic shift on paper requires a human adjustment on the court. The decision to move between the veteran powerhouse and big ball lineups directly impacts the roles and responsibilities of key personnel, testing the depth and cohesion of the roster. For players like Joyce Edwards and Chloe Kitts, the change represents a return to their more natural forward positions, allowing them to focus on their primary strengths without the added burden of compensating for a lack of size inside. For Tessa Johnson, the shift is more pronounced. A starter in the veteran lineup, she moves to a bench role in the big ball formation, a sacrifice of minutes made for the sake of a stronger defensive front. Amid these changing roles, one constant remains: the leadership of Raven Johnson. As the team's primary playmaker and floor general, her role transcends lineup configuration. It falls to her to maintain the team's cohesion, to direct the offense, whether it is a 5-out system or one centered on a dominant post, and to ensure the team's identity remains unified, even as its tactics evolve. This blend of individual adaptability and steady leadership is critical. It is the intangible element that allows a complex strategic vision to become a functional reality on the court. The strategic debate taking place within the South Carolina program is mirrored in the public discourse. On platforms from X to Reddit, fans and analysts are actively weighing the merits of each philosophy, creating a vibrant conversation around the team's championship aspirations. The arguments reflect the core tactical trade-off. Sentiments like, starting with the vets makes sense to build rhythm, but SEC play demands toughness inside, capture the essence of Staley's two-phase plan. There's widespread praise for the offensive fluidity and high ceiling of the veteran powerhouse lineup, but it's often paired with a note of caution, a lingering memory of the team's struggles against interior size. Conversely, the potential of the big ball lineup generates excitement and its own set of questions. As one online comment noted, OCOD changes the game defensively, but can they keep the offense flowing? This single question encapsulates the central challenge. It is a public recognition that the choice between these two powerful lineups is not a simple one. It is a complex equation of risk and reward, a balancing act between an explosive offense and an impenetrable defense. The story of South Carolina's 2025 season is more than a chronicle of wins and losses. It is a case study in elite-level problem-solving. It's a narrative about how a championship program confronts its own imperfections, not by abandoning its strengths, but by building new ones. The choice between the veteran powerhouse and the big ball lineup is a reflection of a larger trend in modern basketball, the need for strategic multiplicity. In an era of unprecedented talent and tactical sophistication, the ability to adapt is paramount. Dawn Staley's willingness to pivot between two distinct identities demonstrates an understanding that a single formula, no matter how successful, is rarely enough to sustain a dynasty. It is a commitment to building a roster that is not just talented, but also versatile. A team capable of winning a shootout with offensive firepower one night and a physical battle with defensive dominance the next. For the fans, this strategic journey offers a deeper appreciation for the chess match that unfolds over a long season. It's a testament to a coaching philosophy that is relentless in its pursuit of perfection. The ultimate success of this dual identity approach is yet to be determined, but the intention is clear. It is to forge a team with no discernible weakness, a team that has an answer for every question an opponent might ask. It's the blueprint for how a powerhouse evolves, and how a champion prepares to reclaim its throne. While the grand strategy of South Carolina basketball is debated between two powerful lineup philosophies, a more granular battle is unfolding within the roster. It is a competition for a single critical position, one that has historically served as the connective tissue for Dawn Staley's championship teams, the small forward spot. In Staley's system, this is no ordinary role. It is the home of the 3-and-D wing, a player tasked with the dual responsibility of stretching the floor with elite three-point shooting and locking down the opponent's most dangerous perimeter threat. Players like Brea Beal set the standard, demonstrating how this unique combination of offense and defense creates space for stars like Tania Latson and Joyce Edwards to operate. Now a new competition has emerged to define the next era of this pivotal role. It is a contest that pits a reliable, proven veteran against the raw, athletic potential of two elite freshmen. The outcome will not only determine a starter in Turin, it will shape the defensive backbone of the team for the foreseeable future. The incumbent standard-bearer in this competition is junior Tessa Johnson. She represents the known quantity, the dependable veteran whose performance is measured in results, not just potential. Her case is built on a foundation of elite skill and proven executions at the highest level. Offensively, Johnson is a specialist. Her reputation is centered on an elite catch-and-shoot three-point ability, a skill that is fundamental to the spacing required in Staley's system. She complements this with a smooth pull-up jumper, making her a multi-dimensional scoring threat on the wing. But her contribution is not limited to one side of the ball. Johnson's perimeter defense is described as highly regarded, a fact substantiated by one of the toughest assignments in college basketball. In a matchup against UConn, she was tasked with guarding Paige Buckers, one of the nation's premier offensive talents, and did so effectively. This performance showcased an ability to defend at the highest level, proving she is more than just a floor spacer. She's a complete player, a reliable asset whose performance provides a high bar for any challenger. Challenging the veteran standard are two 5-star freshmen who bring a different and perhaps more potent set of tools to the competition. Ayla McDowell at 6'2" and Agate McKeer at 6'1" represent a new physical paradigm for the position. Their primary assets are size, length, and elite athleticism, traits that Coach Staley is known to covet for long-term defensive dominance. Both McDowell and McKeer have honed their skills on the international stage, where they demonstrated the defensive versatility to guard multiple positions. Film comparisons reveal that their physical profiles mirror those of past successful Gamecock wing defenders, suggesting they are built in the precise mold that the system is designed to maximize. While their offensive games are still developing, their defensive potential is undeniable. They possess the physical gifts to not only fill the 3-and-D role, but to potentially redefine it. Their presence on the rosters introduces a tantalizing question. Is the future of the position defined by proven skill, or by a new level of athletic and physical superiority? The final variable in this positional battle is not a player, but a philosophy. Dawn Staley's historical approach to integrating freshmen provides the crucial context for predicting an outcome. Her decisions are not based on a rigid formula, but are tailored to the individual player's readiness and the specific needs of the team. The precedents are varied and instructive. An elite talent like Aaliyah Boston, whose skill and fit were immediately apparent, was inserted into the starting lineup from day one. In contrast, a player like Joyce Edwards, despite her own immense talent, was integrated more gradually, developing her role from the bench over the course of her first season. This history suggests the decision regarding the small forward position will be a nuanced one. It will be a deliberate calculation, weighing the immediate, reliable impact of Tessa Johnson against the long-term developmental upside and elite physical tools of Ayla McDowell and Agate McKeer. It is a choice that reveals much about a coach's priority, winning now or building the foundation for winning for years to come. The competition for the starting small forward spot is, in essence, a battle over the team's evolving identity. It is a microcosm of the large strategic choices facing Dawn Staley and the South Carolina program. Does the path forward lie with the veteran reliability that Tessa Johnson provides? A steady hand that guarantees high-level execution on both ends of the floor? Or does the future demand a pivot towards the immense physical potential of Ayla McDowell and Agate McKeer? A gamble on generational athleticism that could elevate the team's defensive ceiling to an entirely new level? The player who ultimately wins this role will do more than just fill a spot in the starting five. They will become the next link in the chain of elite 3-and-D wings that have been so fundamental to South Carolina's dynasty. This decision will shape the team's defensive schemes, its offensive spacing, and its capacity to compete for another national title. It is a classic sports narrative, a choice between the present and the future, with the legacy of a championship program hanging in the balance.
Prime Field